Great Barrier Reef is the largest structure on Earth built by living things. For 2,300 kilometres, it follows the coastline of Queensland in Australia. The coral reefs are limestone, made from skeletons of millions of microscopic marine animals and plants. They secrete a calcium carbonate skeleton on their lower bodies, which anchor to past skeletons from the last generation of coral. The coral reaches up from the seabed and in many places breaks the surface or sits just below it, which makes navigating this area extremely hazardous. Many ships have been stranded or shipwrecked on the reef. This film is centred along the ribbon reefs, which only occur in the northern section of the Great Barrier Reef. Starting at Cookstown and stretching up the eastern Torres Strait, a distance of some 670 kilometres. They form a near continuous barrier, hence the name, with only a few channels deep enough for vessels to pass between the reefs. Our diving adventure starts from Lizard Island, and it's here we join our liveaboard vessel, which will take us diving on many fantastic, world-class dive sites, travelling south back towards Cairns. Dolphins playing under the bow of our ship soon join us as we get underway. And the first of our dive sites is a visit to the world-famous Cod Hole, where we expect some close-up encounters with some of the ocean's largest fish. Potato cod spend most of the day hiding beneath coral heads, waiting for a meal to swim by. They lunge quickly out to attack. They eat small rays, crabs, lobsters and fish, and their mouths are so large they can often eat their prey in a single gulp. They have distinctive markings with linear blotches radiating outwards from the eyes. They're generally creamy white, with large potato-shaped blotches down the back and sides, from where this fish gets its name. Potato cod can grow to more than 100 kilos and 2 meters long, but they average around 90 kilos and 1.5 meters in length. The cod have been hand-fed at Cod Hole, so approach divers closely in the hope of a free meal. But the population at the hole is diminishing, even though they are one of the few species who are totally protected on the reef. Another cod found here is the flowery cod. It is yellowishy brown with large irregular shaped blotches said to resemble flowers on its head, back and sides. They feed on lobsters and crabs and small fish. This one is fully grown at about 1 meter in length. From the very big potato cod to the fairly small and cute pufferfish, also known as a toadfish or blowfishes. All divers love to see these fish with their very own style of swimming and their dog-like faces. This is a male black-spotted pufferfish with very distinctive grey, black and yellow on its side, and they grow to about 30 centimetres. The female has very different colourings. Here we have a group of 3, which is unusual, as they're mostly in pairs or on their own. They may have gathered here at a cleaning station, but they seem reluctant for the cleaning wrasse to start cleaning, as at each approach they withdraw. Maybe the cleaning wrasse is just a bit too rough for them. All pufferfish are highly poisonous to humans. Captain Cook nearly died as a result from eating a pufferfish on his second voyage to Australia. The scribble pufferfish has highly variable patterns radiating out from its eyes like a honeycomb, and they grow to about 60 centimetres in length. Nudibranchs are marine snails. Nudibranch means naked gills because the gills are on the rear of the back or sometimes along the side. They have an array of defences such as ingesting stinging cells from anemones and using them in their own defence. They have chemical sensors on their heads like antennae to smell chemicals in the water that lead them to their food. They only have a life cycle of around a year to 18 months. Giant clams like this, however, can live for up to 200 years. Seawater is pumped in, the gills filter out the tiny plants and animals, and the water is then pumped out again. This unusual scallop species has many names, ranging from the fire shell clam to the red electric flame scallop. Found only in the Indo-Pacific region, the electric scallop may grow up to a diameter of 8 to 12 centimetres. Its bright red coloured mantle has a striking blue membrane, which makes it appear as if an electric current is flowing from the scallop's mouth. It stays in place by gathering small rocks and coral pieces and anchoring itself to them. The scallop eats plankton but also derives energy from the photosynthetic algae which live within it, a good example of a symbiotic relationship. This is a pair of red fire gobies, easily recognised by the orange-red tail shading into a white body with a huge tall white spiky dorsal fin. They usually stay in pairs, flicking their dorsal fins in a signalling fashion. The lionfish is a member of the scorpionfish family. They are marked with bold stripes and colours and flamboyant long feather-like plumes which catch the diver's eye. This behaviour or fluttering display is thought to attract the attention of its prey and to hide the motion of their fins, which propel them at lightning speed when they have the prey within striking distance. This is the common lionfish, also known as the devilfish or firefish. Their long spines are like hypodermic needles, and the venom, which is held in a sac at the base of the spine, could inflict a serious injury to divers. Whilst not fatal, care should be taken when close up to these very poisonous fish, which appear to be gentle. Close up they have numerous feather-like projections and fleshy tabs on their heads, which may assist in camouflage by mimicking algal growth or by creating a visual disruption of the outline of the head or mouth. The Great Barrier Reef supports a few of the species, including this rare visitor, the African lionfish. They are more commonly found on the northeastern coast of Australia. The colours of lionfish can change dramatically and will appear darker when the fish is beginning the mating cycle. Sharks are common on the ribbon reefs, but most encounters are fleeting visits, as the bubble-blown divers tend to scare away these beautiful creatures. This is a grey reef shark which grows up to about 2.6 metres and lives for around 25 years. This is the more common white-tip reef shark. These sharks are mostly harmless to divers unless molested, baited or provoked. During the day they cruise the reef or rest on the seabed, and they are most active at night when the docile white-tip becomes very active searching out fish, octopus, crabs and lobsters. They have a very tough but slender body which allows them to hunt in very confined spaces. They mate by the male grasping the female by the pectoral fin firmly in his mouth. This female may have resisted too much and lost part of her fin as a result, or it could have been severed in a feeding frenzy. Note how much harder she has to use her tail to keep stability due to the partial loss of the pectoral fin. Can you spot a fish? This is an ornate ghost pipefish nestled in a feather star perfectly camouflaged. Highly variable in colour, they mimic their surroundings or hosts with slender thin appendages on their fins and body. They usually point downward looking for food, which will be small crustaceans. They're similar to pipefish in the facial appearance, but have a very different arrangement of fins. Triggerfish are so named as their dorsal fin has a large spine which locks in position and looks like a trigger. This prevents them from being swallowed by predators, and also they cannot be pulled out from their resting place. The Titan triggerfish, or giant triggerfish, is the largest of the species, grown up to about 75 centimetres. They have large eyes which can be rotated independently. They also have a tough skin covered with large scales that form an armour-like appearance, with a large head which extends into a snout, strong jaws and sharp teeth, and plates made to crush shells. They can manoeuvre their bodies into places to get the best that the coral can offer, and can be frequently seen upside down or rotating like a corkscrew to get the best from the food available. This Titan triggerfish appears to be being cleaned by cleaning wrasse while continuing to feed, which is unusual as most fish stay motionless while the cleaner fish do their job. One of the fascinating facts about the triggerfish is the way they protect their nests against anything, including divers. They start by blowing through their mouths to create a small crater in the sandy bottom. They clean the space by picking up any large debris and removing it from the site. They lay their eggs on the bottom of the crater and become extremely protective of them. The eggs look like a clump of small bubbles or frog spawn. Once the eggs are laid, the diver needs to be aware that if you approach a nest, the triggerfish could attack. They see their space as a surrounding area, including the space up to the surface, so divers are best to avoid this by keeping low and swimming away horizontally. This blue triggerfish is visiting a cleaning station and having unwanted parasites and algae built up over time removed. They normally school in large numbers, but this one obviously needs its regular checkup from the cleaning station. The last member of the family is the most colourful, the clown triggerfish. It has well hidden eyes in the black band over its head and large white spots. This is a leaf scorpionfish, or also known as a paperfish. They often sit out in the open on top of coral heads, but are easily overlooked due to their tremendous camouflage. This is a juvenile blue-headed damselfish, or more commonly known as Rowland's damsel. It has a distinctive blue diamond shape on its head which continues down its dorsal fin. As the fish matures, it loses this shape but becomes more blue around the head. They are mostly solitary but also reside in pairs like these two. There are over 30 species of the angelfish found in Australia, and this is the half-circled angelfish, with bright electric blue around its eyes, gill covers, cheek spine and along its entire body. These are secretive fish feeding on algae, sponges or small invertebrates. This is an unusual member of the bannerfish family, the horned bannerfish. The reef-top pipefish is a member of the seahorse family. This species, as the name suggests, spend most of their time on top of reef crests, on rubble patches and coral heads, and they grow to around 17 centimetres. Like all the seahorse family, the male incubates the eggs, protecting them with varying degrees of cover. Their main diet consists of small crustaceans and shrimp. Everyone now knows anemone fish from the Disney movie Finding Nemo, when Nemo gets captured from his home on the Great Barrier Reef and taken to a dentist aquarium in Sydney. Nemo is a clown anemone fish, which we'll see later, but he has many cousins in the whole damselfish family. Anemone fish are so called as they live in a symbiotic relationship with an anemone. Symbiosis literally means living together, and scientists use this to describe the relationship between unrelated species that live in close association. There are around 1,000 species of anemones, but only 10 are host to anemone fish. They can only exist in shallow, clear water, as they need the sunlight for photosynthesis, a process in which the solar energy is used to make sugar from carbon and water. This species is one of the most rare. The spine cheek anemone fish has a very small spine along its cheek. It ranges from bright red to brownish yellow, with 3 relatively narrow white or grey bars. Males are much smaller but brighter in colour, with brilliant white stripes. The pink anemone fish has a narrow white head bar and white stripe on top of its head, beginning between the eyes and extending along the base of the dorsal fin. They live in 4 types of anemone, including this corkscrew tentacle, sea anemone. Anemones are distantly related to jellyfish and also have similar harpoon-like stinging capsules, but the anemone fish are not stung by its host, as it has a mucus-like protection provided by the anemone. The fish returns to its host constantly to pick up more mucus, and if it leaves its anemone for a while, it will gently back in, ensuring that it gets its protection. The red and black anemone fish are only found on the Great Barrier Reef in Australia and live in 3 species of anemones. They have a single broad white bar across the head. Like all anemone fish, they protect their eggs fervently, a character of the damselfish family. They aggressively chase other fish from the vicinity, particularly wrasse, that love to taste the plump fish eggs. Now this is a true clown and enemy fish, and like Marlin and his son Nemo, they're more shy than their cousins and not as common, which is one of the main reasons why people want them in their aquariums. Anemone fish delight divers from all over the world and remain one of the most photographed fish of all time. Their remarkable life of sharing the close proximity with another animal will no doubt keep researchers busy to truly understand why the relationship seems to be the perfect match. This Harlequin sweetlips is in need of a dental cleanup. He remains completely still, and the little cleaner fish puts its trust in the sweetlips to allow him to do his dentistry. He cleans off any parasites and debris, and when clean he's allowed to leave. He could have easily been taken as a meal, but the trust in the relationship allows both parties to benefit. The barramundi cod, or humpback cod, are not seen regularly due to their secretive and shy nature. The shape of the head and nape closely resembles that of the great barramundi, which reside in our coastal streams. They have a small head and a large humpback covered in black spots. The barramundi are sequential protogynous hermaphrodites. Simply put, they mature firstly as females and then later become males. This olive green sea snake, returning from the surface to grab a breath of air, is 30 times more poisonous than any of its land cousins, but it's extremely unlikely for divers to get bitten, as the sea snake family are not aggressive towards humans. This is a smooth flute mouth. It has a long tubular body with an extremely long snout and small mouth. It grows to around 1.6 meters in length and is generally found on coastal reefs and in seagrass beds. Watch this sling-jaw wrasse extend its jaw out to take in its prey. Most of the fish we have seen are in pairs or on their own. Some species school for protection and to feed together. Sit back and experience what it's like to be among these snappers and fusiliers. Dwarf minke whales were first recognised as a distinct species in the mid-1980s, and we still know very little about them. During the months of June and July, minke whales can be seen along the ribbon reefs, and through a program which brings scientists and dive operators together, they allow divers to get a rare opportunity to closely observe these magnificent creatures. There are strict rules on how divers can observe the whales. The dive operators place long float lines out behind the boat. Snorkelers can then hang on to the float lines and wait for the whales. No attempt should be made to swim towards any whale. You simply hang on to the rope and wait for the whales to come to you. They are very inquisitive, and if you are patient, they may approach closely and check you out. In Australian waters there are two types of whales: toothed whales like bottlenose dolphins and short-fin pilot whales, and baleen whales like the humpback and the minke whale. Baleen whales have plates that hang from either side of the roof of the mouth rather than teeth. When the minke whale opens its mouth to feed, its pleated throat expands like a pelican's pouch to engulf schooling fish or krill. When the throat is compressed, water is forced out between the plates, trapping the food against a sieve formed by the bristles along the inner edge of each plate. All mammals, including minke whales, have to breathe. They have paired nostrils or blowholes on top of their heads. They surface with a smooth arching of the back and then dive for periods of 5 to 12 minutes. Encounters like these are truly an amazing experience, especially when a whale comes very close and looks straight at you. It's a unique moment and one which will stay with you for a very long time. Now it's time to leave the ribbon reefs, part of the Great Barrier Reef. I hope you've enjoyed our dive and adventure, and I look forward to sharing some more underwater secrets with you soon.